Hey, you crazy internet people, this is Forever Your Guru AJ speaking. Today we're going to talk about the three different weapon types. We have the first one, which is kinetic, the second one, which is energy, and then you've got your last one, which is heavy. Okay, heavy is going to take the place of everything that used to be kind of cool, especially in PvP. If you're not a PvPer, the things that used to kill you all the time, besides like Thorn, so that would probably give you your rocket launchers. It would have given you heavy machine guns, except I'll get to that later. Heavy machine guns aren't technically even in the game anymore, so that's a thing. But you know, things like shotguns, sniper rifles, oh gosh, things like that. The new grenade launcher, that's in there too. But they operate just like any heavy used to operate, so we're going to miss out on a lot of shotgun action, at least from what I gather, at least for PvP. A lot of noobs, I guess you'd call them, in PvP used to just run around with shotguns, right? No technical skill needed. Just you see somebody pull the trigger, hopefully you were faster than them, and then you win. Snipers are going to be something that's really, really limited also, especially if they do it like they did it in the old one, where it only drops maybe once a round. So that would be something that we would get really slowed down on too. Grenade launchers, obviously the same type of thing. Grenade launchers are a little bit different though than rocket launchers, although they do a lot of damage. They are an arc weapon, and I don't mean that in the electricity way. I actually mean that in the way of, if you shoot a grenade launcher, it is going to have an arc to it. So it's not going to fly straight and true. There's no actual propulsion behind it. It just gets its first little boom from the gun, and then it's going to land wherever it lands. So it's not going to go nearly as far. But in a lot of cases, you can drop like 3 of them at a time if you have certain types of them. So that's pretty cool. But those are the heavy weapons. What I want to talk about is kind of what is the difference between a kinetic and an energy, okay? Technically, there's only supposed to be one, at least at launch. And I'll let you know what they are, what it is. If you have a kinetic weapon, okay, it's going to be anything that doesn't fit in the heavy. Period. Anything that I didn't say that was in heavy is going to be in your kinetic slot now. Okay. Now, there could be one little change, and I'm not sure. I would love to know if this is how it works, because no one's really described it yet, and unfortunately I wasn't able to go and play to figure that part out. But the way that kinetic works is that you put a gun in it that doesn't go into the heavy slot, okay, and it doesn't have a burn. So all of your regular weapons go into kinetic, okay. Those same type of weapons, so an auto rifle or a scout rifle or whatever, a fusion rifle, those types of things, if they go into the specific energy slot, will now have burns. So any of the weapons that were solar or, you know, arc or void, the only way to use those, unless they're heavy can have burns or not burns, I guess, in any of them, and it doesn't matter what you put in there, but you're only allowed one thing in there. Okay, so you have the, you're going to have, like, let's say you have a fusion rifle of the same archetype. I don't know if it can be the same one. I'll talk about that last. But, so you stick a fusion rifle in kinetic. The only way that it can go into kinetic is if it doesn't have a burn. Okay, so if it's just the regular, I'm going to pull this trigger, and it's going to go fusion rifle, all right? No burns. Then, if that same archetype gets stuck in energy, it will have a burn. I don't know what the burn is. It's probably specific to the weapon. when it drops, and there you go. Now, the other thing that I'm speculating, and I'm so hoping, because I don't think anyone was really able to get an answer out of this, leave it in the comments if you think that this would be cool, is whenever you get a weapon to drop, right, it'll have a certain burn on it, no matter what. They all have burns. I would love for every weapon to have some type of burn. But if you stick it in the kinetic slot, it loses its burn, but the weapon is still the same. It just doesn't have a burn. And then if you stick it in the energy slot, it'll have its burn. So then your loadout could really, really be good. Because if you're going somewhere where you want the perks of Mida, right? Now, Mida didn't have a burn. But let's say you wanted the perks of... gosh, I'm trying desperately here to find... Icebreaker. Okay, Icebreaker back in the day. Just ignore the fact that it's one of those that that goes into the bottom slot now, but just Icebreaker. It had fire. Okay, solar. If you still needed your regening ammo and all that, you could have stuck it in the first slot, right? And then it would have been able to go into the second slot. If it went in the second slot, it is now solar again. But if you stick it in the first slot, it would be just regular regen ammo sniper rifle, which would be cool. Except for the fact that now it's stuck in the heavy slot anyway, I know. But, you know, like, gosh, which one? Telesto. Telesto would be cool, right? If it still had grenades that can blow up and you stuck that one in the kinetic slot, then you still have a gun that shoots out grenades, sticks on the people and blows up. You just wouldn't have the void burn ability. But then if you were playing a strike or something that needed void burn, you could stick it in your energy slot and then all of a sudden your Telesto would be void again. So that's really interesting to see how that works. Also, just to let you know, they have done a lot of work trying to balance things, especially in the supers to non-supered person range for PvP. So if, and this is something to think about. You should start planning strategies in your head now, you hardcore PvPers. But if you pop a super, you're enemy number one now. And the way that Bungie has designed it is any special weapon can now do massive damage to any person that has popped their special. Okay, so if you popped your super, you are now vulnerable to all special weapon slots, like the energy slots. If anyone has an energy weapon, doesn't even matter if it matches your burn. If it matches your burn, it doesn't apparently give you any extra. But just because you're using an energy weapon and now the Guardian is full of energy, apparently maybe something like it disrupts your energy or something and it causes even more damage to you. So you are more vulnerable to any of the second slot weapons, which means that maybe it's not the best idea to go running blazing in as a golden gun unless you're really, really fast at pulling that trigger. Because if you come into a group of people and they've all got their special weapons because they heard you pop it, they can mow you down pretty fast. So that's just part of how Bungie's trying to balance things out and everything. But that's what I had right now. So this is Forever Your Guru AJ speaking. I'm signing out. I'm sure I'm going to come out with another one. So I will see you in the next one.